Imagine the gorilla, the largest primate in existence, at the peak of its strength. Now picture the vastness of the Amazon rainforest, a paradise of biodiversity. Separated by a giant ocean and entire continents, these two have never met, until now. On this imaginary journey, we're going to explore the idea of taking gorillas to the Amazon. What would happen if these powerful primates had to face this whole new world? It would be a radical change, a true clash of nature's titans. The gorillas, which are from the African jungle, would have to pull out all the stops to survive in the Amazon. Come with me to uncover the incredible adaptations of gorillas, their diet, how they organize themselves, and the dangers they face in their homeland. Let's analyze the challenges and opportunities they would encounter in the Amazon. Would they get used to the climate, the plants, and the different animals? How would their presence affect the species that are already here and the ecosystem as a whole? Arriving in the heart of Africa, we find the eastern gorilla, an imposing and incredibly strong primate. The males, at almost 2 meters tall and weighing up to 210 kilos, are true colossuses of ebony. The females, even smaller, are also impressive for their strength. Imagine an adult male gorilla at the peak of his prime. His strength is legendary, capable of breaking a large bamboo shoot with his bare hand. But don't be fooled by brute strength. Gorillas are incredibly intelligent. Their expressive eyes reveal a clever mind, capable of learning, communicating, and even showing compassion. Despite their brave appearance, eastern gorillas are, for the most part, sweethearts. They are herbivores, meaning they mainly feed on plants like leaves, fruits, shoots, and bark. They spend their days peacefully, exploring the forest in search of food and interacting with other members of the group. The young ones, full of energy and curiosity, play and learn from their elders. Observing a group of gorillas in the wild is fascinating because it reveals the social complexity and intelligence of these incredible primates. Eastern gorillas are masters of adaptation, occupying various types of environments. This ability to adapt is proof of their resilience, of how they manage to thrive in challenging places. They face predators like leopards and have developed effective defense tactics. The strength of the group, constant vigilance, and strategic use of the environment are their main weapons against threats. Their intelligence and ability to learn are essential for survival. This unique blend of strength, cleverness, and adaptability makes eastern gorillas interesting candidates for our experiment of imagining them in the Amazon. To understand the challenge it would be for them to live in the Amazon, we need to first get to know their home. Eastern gorillas are found in a relatively small area of Central Africa. This region, dominated by the Congo Basin, is a mix of dense forests, swamps, and mountains. This variety of environments has shaped the evolution of eastern gorillas, giving them all this adaptability. Imagine life in an African rainforest. The air is hot and humid with the smell of damp earth and decomposing plants. The sun struggles to penetrate the trees, creating a play of light and shadow on the ground. The gorillas, with their keen senses, move through this environment with familiarity, communicating through grunts, howls, and chest beats. Now imagine these same gorillas taken from their home and brought to a completely different continent. This epic journey crossing the Atlantic Ocean would only be the first challenge in their adaptation to the Amazon. Confined in an artificial environment, without the familiar sounds, smells, and landscapes, the gorillas would go through a tremendous shock. To minimize the stress of the journey, it would be essential to recreate as much as possible the natural conditions of the gorilla's habitat. A spacious place with plenty of vegetation, running water and structures for climbing would help to reduce anxiety and discomfort during the crossing. Veterinarians and animal behavior specialists would accompany the gorillas at all times, monitoring their health and well-being. Feeding would be strictly controlled, ensuring they receive all the necessary nutrients. After weeks of travel, the gorillas finally reached their destination, the Amazon rainforest. As they set foot on solid ground, they are greeted by a festival of totally new colors, sounds and smells. The air is hot and humid, like in Africa, but the plants are different. Gigantic trees with enormous roots form a green labyrinth. Thick vines hang from the trees, connecting everything in a complex web. The gorillas, initially wary, begin to explore their new home. Their keen senses work non-stop, gathering information about the unfamiliar environment. Adapting to the Amazon's flora would be one of the biggest challenges. The gorillas would have to learn to identify edible plants and differentiate them from poisonous ones. The Amazon rainforest, one of the most biodiverse places in the world, is quite different from African forests. Its vastness is impressive, millions of square kilometers of green. Imagine an endless green sea, cut by rivers that snake through the forest. The air is humid and heavy, with the scent of exotic flowers and the smell of damp earth. The Amazon rainforest is a place of superlatives, with the largest river basin in the world, the Amazon River. It is believed that the forest is home to 10% of all known plant and animal species. When the sun rises, the Amazon rainforest awakens with a symphony of sounds. The singing of birds mixes with the buzzing of insects, creating a natural orchestra. The call of howler monkeys echoes through the trees, while the sound of falling fruit breaks the silence. At night, the symphony changes. The singing of cicadas takes over, while frogs and toads begin their chorus. Owls and bats fly silently, their eyes shining in the darkness. For the gorillas, accustomed to the sounds of Africa, the symphony of the jungle would be an immersion in a completely new world. The Amazon rainforest, despite all its beauty, also hides dangers. Powerful predators lurk in the forest, always on the lookout for food. The jaguar, the largest feline in the Americas, is a solitary and deadly hunter. In the dark waters of the rivers, the anaconda, a giant snake, waits patiently for unsuspecting prey. The gorillas, even though strong and large, would have to be careful in this environment full of dangers. Learning to identify and avoid predators would be essential to surviving in the Amazon. The arrival of gorillas in the Amazon would be a historic event. At first, the vastness of the forest might seem like a paradise for these adaptable primates. However, moving house would bring a series of challenges to their survival. Accustomed to African flora and fauna, they would be faced with a completely new menu. Finding food would require constant learning, testing their limits and intelligence. The Amazon rainforest, although rich in resources, has periods of intense rain and others of drought. The gorillas would have to adapt to this change, adjusting their eating habits and movements. One of the most emblematic encounters would be between the gorillas and the jaguar, the feline that rules the Amazon. Accustomed to leopards in Africa, the gorillas would be faced with a larger and stronger predator. However, the jaguar, a master of camouflage, avoids fights with large animals. It is likely that at first it would just keep an eye out, observing the gorillas from a distance. The gorillas, with their social organization and group defense system, would not be easy prey. In the long run, the interaction between these two species would depend on several factors, such as the amount of food available and the learning ability of both sides. The introduction of gorillas to the Amazon would not be limited to interaction with predators. The presence of these giant primates would impact the social dynamics of other species, especially the primates that already live here. The competition for food could lead to territorial conflicts and fights. The gorillas, with their superior strength, would have an advantage, which could make it difficult for other species to access food. On the other hand, coexistence could also create learning opportunities for all. The adaptation of gorillas to the Amazon would be a gradual process, full of challenges and surprises. Bringing a large species like the gorilla to the Amazon would have impacts on the entire ecosystem. Competition for resources would be one of the main challenges. Gorillas could compete with anteaters, capybaras, and other herbivores for plants and fruits. This pressure on resources could lead to changes in the distribution and quantity of certain plants. The presence of gorillas could also have indirect impacts on other species. For example, by eating fruits, gorillas would disperse seeds, helping in forest regeneration. Imagining gorillas in the Amazon, even if it's just a hypothesis, makes us think about the complexity of ecosystems. Gorillas could find a new home in the Amazon, increasing the biodiversity of this unique place. However, this radical change would also bring challenges and risks, both for the gorillas and for the species that are already here. The question that remains is, would it be right to interfere so radically in the natural course of life, putting at risk the balance of an ecosystem as precious as the Amazon rainforest?